There's a phrase going around, the self-improving company. Y Combinator did a whole session on it, and it sounds like science fiction, but the idea underneath is actually pretty simple. So the next few minutes, I'll explain how it works. Start with how most of us use AI today. You open a chatbot, you ask it to do something, it does it, you ask, it answers. Done. That's a workflow. The agent finishes the task and then it stops. It doesn't check whether the results were any good, and it doesn't remember anything for the next time. A self-improving company is built differently. It's built out of loops. The cleanest way to picture it comes from a YC partner, Tom Blomfield, who borrows the idea from control systems. There are two kinds of loop. An open loop makes a decision, does the thing, and never looks at the result. A closed loop does the same thing, measures what happened, learns from it, and adjusts before it runs again. Most companies and most AI today run open loop. A self-improving company runs closed loop. That's really the whole concept. There's one condition that has to be true first. The loop can only learn from what it can see. So everything the company does and every outcome has to be recorded somewhere the AI can read. If it isn't written down, the loop has nothing to learn from. Blomfield's version of this is, if it's recorded, it happens to the AI. If it didn't get recorded, it didn't happen. Now, how is a loop actually built? Blomfield breaks it down into 5 parts, and they're worth knowing. First, sensors, the inputs, support tickets, analytics, product, data. Second, a policy layer, the rules for what the agent is allowed to do on its own versus what needs a human to approve. Third, tools, how the agent actually reads and writes to your real systems. Fourth, a quality gate, the checks that catch bad output before it ships. And fifth, a learning mechanism, the part that takes the outcome and feeds it back in. That's the formal version. In practice, builders reduced it to 3 things. Memory, a log of what the agent did, plus a document of what it's learned so far. Skills, the things it can actually carry out end to end, like an audit, write a draft, publish it, and read the numbers afterwards. And a schedule, a cron job, so the whole loop runs on its own, on a timer, instead of waiting for you to press go. Memory, skills, schedule. One detail that clears a lot of confusion, there are really 2 kinds of memory here. One is factual, a record of what happened, so the agent can look back. The other is procedural, the lessons, turned into reusable skills. A tool called GBrain from YC's Gary Tan handles the factual side, storing things like people and companies and meetings. A tool called Lupani handles the procedural side, where the agent reflects on its results and even proposes updates to its own skills. And there's a third piece called printing press, which exists because of a quiet problem. A lot of software isn't built for agents to use, so the agent can't reliably read or write to it. Printing press generates tools that an agent can actually operate. Without that, the loop can't close. Here's a real example of all of this running. A builder named Giorgio gave an AI agent $1,500 and a Meta Ads account. For 31 days, with no human in the loop, the agent created the ads, launched the campaigns, built landing pages, and read its own analytics every day. It kept a written log of its reasoning and used Git to carry what it learned from one day to the next. Over the month, it generated 243 leads at about $6 each. And it discovered something interesting on its own. Rough, handmade-looking ads, like whiteboard sketches and screenshots, performed better than polished ones because they blend into the feed. You'll also hear bigger claims. A startup called Polzia raised $30 million to run a company with mostly with AI. There are reports of companies reaching 5 times the revenue per employee they had 18 months ago. Some of these numbers are observations rather than the audited data, so it's worth holding them loosely, but the direction is consistent across all of it. So that's the self-improving company. Not a robot that runs everything, a loop. Input, action, measurement, learning, and then it goes again. The smallest version is one task with memory, skills, and a schedule. And once you see it as a loop, you start seeing where one could fit almost anywhere. Thank you for watching. Peace.